a location setting. Now, what I'm saying here is that I've already turned it off here. So this would have been on, and you'd have a list of apps that are collecting your location. You can allow location to be on and say only certain apps can track my location. For example, you may want your mapping application to track it. They have their own mapping application, by the way. So instead of going to the web and going to the whatever their maps is, they have their own mapping application. It just works with their website. What's theirs? Well, they've got it all folded under Bing now. But it's the Bing Maps. I think it used to be MapQuest or one of those. I forget which one.
Bada Bing.
Huh? Bada Bing, yeah. So the map tile would keep track of where you are. You can say, I'll let that one keep track of where I am, but the FBI surveillance application, I won't let keep track of where I am, or vice versa. Or you just turn the whole thing off. Okay. Personal data synced to Microsoft servers. So your Wi-Fi password, your computer password, all sorts of other personal data. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about application data. I'm not talking about your documents or your pictures at this point, but internal computer stuff can be shared with your contacts. We'll talk about that in a minute. Cortana, which is their Siri competitor, is collecting all sorts of information about your preferences, what restaurants you go to, what kinds of questions you ask, what kind of clothes you wear, where you shop, because that's the only way those services can do their thing. They got to know about you. If you're going to say to it, you know, where's the nearest restaurant, to do a good job, it's got to know what kind of food you like.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's what Siri does.
Yeah.
Android, Google has a similar application. It's not as advanced as Siri or Cortana, but it's doing the same kind of thing. So again, you can go to speech, inking, and typing, and you can tell it, don't get to know me. That's what I've done. That's why it says get to know me. The other, if it was on, it would say stop getting to know me or something like that. And it stops collecting that data, or at least supposedly. I can't tell you that I can guarantee that it isn't collecting that data, but if they're collecting the data anyway after you've turned it off, that's probably going to be that's a couple of multi-bazillion-dollar lawsuits waiting for them. So chances are they have in fact turned it off. Okay. So now data synced with other devices. What does that mean? Let's say you play a game, you're playing some games, and you got scores. It can automatically sync with a server that belongs to the game manufacturer. One of the things this can be used for is what are called beacons for the advertisers. So you get into an area, their beacon discovers you're there, and it starts sending you, customized advertising. Which sounds, if that sounds an awful lot like, remember Minority Report, the Tom Cruise, where it looks at your eyeball and figures out who you are, and as you're walking down the street, it's giving you customized ads. It's getting close to that. You can turn it off. Okay, you can sync with trusted devices. So I can define this as a trusted device, and it will sync location data with it. It will sync some of my other preference data with it. Again, that can be turned off here with the other device on the other devices tab. Now, data syncing with Microsoft servers. This is one that's created a huge amount of consternation. Microsoft gives you 15 gigabytes of free storage in the cloud. So when you're creating a document, when you're working with pictures, you can sync them right up to the cloud. Automatic backup. Not just automatic backup, but wherever you go, any computer, you can go retrieve your stuff. But it's syncing all your data to the cloud. And people say, well, how do we know Microsoft might be taking your pictures and using them? Well, that's exactly what Flickr did. It's exactly what some of the other cloud photo services have done, have been hit with huge lawsuits for doing that. It's exactly what Facebook has done. If you put your data up there, don't be surprised if one day you see it being used by somebody else if you put your photos up there. That's what these guys do. If you do OneDrive and you turn it on, you decide to use it, you can have an automatic sync So you're busy working on a document, you're busy working on a tax document, you're working on your letter to the IRS, and you've put in there, you know, all sorts of secret stuff, like I have this $1 million account down in the Cayman Islands, account 12345, and you save that file and it syncs up there. Well, you're an idiot, but that's beside the point. Okay, if you have automatic sync turned on, everything's going to get synced up to the cloud. Great, you now have backup. Problem, everything you do is going to get synced up to the cloud. But guess what? Google and Apple do the same thing. Google Drive, that's what it does. You can turn on, you can have it sync. In which case, everything you do, right up to the cloud. You can turn it off. In fact, the auto sync actually has to be enabled, consciously enabled to work. So you can set up a you can set up a Microsoft OneDrive account, and you can decide when you want to send data up there or retrieve data from there. This presentation I did on Google Drive, which is the exact same thing. So from anywhere where I have an internet access, I can access that application from any computer. I don't have to carry one of these around, you know, I don't have to transfer stuff back and forth. Now, a presentation like this, no problem. You know, stuff from work that's sensitive, yeah, not so much. I'm not going to put up there. But you can turn it off. And it's no different than what Google has and Apple has. Okay, Wi-Fi Sense allows you to automatically connect with networks shared by your contacts. Outlook contacts, Facebook contacts, a couple of other sources. So and allows your contacts to automatically connect to your networks. So what does that mean? I've got my home network. My good friend Osama bin Laden comes over. He's a Facebook contact of mine. He comes over, and without doing anything, he's automatically on my network, and he's talking to his friends in Pakistan from my house. Not quite. That's the way it's been presented by some people, not quite. If nothing else, when Osama comes over and his computer wants to connect to my network, I'm going to get something on my computer that says, your friend Osama wants to connect to your network. Should I let him or not? So it's not quite as terrible as everybody's been telling you, but still, anybody who's a friend of yours comes within range of your network, and automatically they get connected. Automatically they're asking for connection. Okay?
And if you're not there to deny it,
then they don't get it. All right? Yeah, if you're not there, you have to approve them. Once you've approved them, they're on.
Anytime they come over?
Anytime they come over, right. So in other words, Osama can come and sit outside my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, use my network, and when the FBI tracks it down, they're going to go, ha ha, it's John's house.
Can Osama's friend then come over and connect through Osama's connection?
Yes. If I allow my Facebook friends to connect, and I allow Osama to connect, then his friends can connect based on him being connected.
Without your approval?
Without my approval.
Yes,
No, well, I still have to give an approval. I believe I still have to give an approval, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
Okay. But it can be disabled.
And did you disable yours?
Oh, you bet your ass
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to go home and do this one.
Okay. Now, this one you disable in this one you disable in a slightly different place. Instead of under privacy, under network and internet, manage Wi-Fi settings. Boom. Okay. Now, I mean, it's nice. Fred came over the other day to work on the presentation. I had to give Fred, okay, Fred, here's the password. When we have to type it in, make 5 errors instead of the system just going automatically and giving it to him. But I don't want people coming in and getting a connection.
Especially Fred.
Yeah, Fred, I'll trust. Tina, yeah.
Why did you have to change the network?
We'll get to that one. We'll get to that.
can you disable Fred's access once he leaves?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know. So it's a nice thing. Now they're not taking your Wi-Fi password and putting it up on their system in plain text. They're taking your Wi-Fi password and they're encrypting it, and putting it on their system as encrypted. And we all know how good a job Microsoft does with things like security and encryption. Okay. Well, here. Now this is going to get to the question that Tina asked. They've got this concept that they're using to feed out updates. They're using what's called a torrent feed. If any of you know what BitTorrent is, you've ever heard of this. BitTorrent is a way of having a whole bunch of computers that will serve out information. So if you become part of a BitTorrent and you have movies on your computer, and somebody goes to a service and says, hey, download, I want to download Minority Report, the movie Minority Report. That service will look and say, oh, John's near you, he has it, and it will have your computer send it out to that person.
All that porno you got on there?
Whatever you got, okay? And by the way, BitTorrent is the single biggest deliverer of porno, except maybe for some servers in the Vatican, and that's not a joke, actually. At any rate, so you're going to get your updates, not necessarily directly from a Microsoft server, but from somebody else's computer that got it from Microsoft. Or somebody else's computer that got it from somebody else's computer that got it from somebody else's computer that got it from Microsoft. And also, your computer will be used to serve out to other people. Okay. So the first thing you sit there and say, wait a minute, I got dial-up. The computer knows if you have this process knows if you have dial-up, and it's not going to do that. If you have a measured or a limited quantity connection, you know, if you've got something from, you know, if your ISP limits you to the amount of data a month, you know, you can only do 50 gig of data a month. You can they call that a measured connection. You would want to turn this off because it's going to use up a lot of your, you know, a lot of your 50 gig.
So my Windows could be getting updated from your computer.
Yes.
But your computer may have been hacked.
My computer what?
May have been hacked by somebody.
Well, that's the question. The answer, obviously people asked that of Microsoft, and Microsoft said, oh no, this is not a security risk.
Well,
And let me tell you, if Microsoft says that something isn't a security risk, you can take that to the bank. Maybe a Bitcoin bank, but that's about it, okay?
Why would you want this capability on your machine at all?
Because you're a nice guy and you want to help other people. You want to help Microsoft not have to have a huge amount of bandwidth.
or you want to infect other people's computers.
Well, you know, what they're saying is that their answer was, we have very careful control over the files that are being sent, so we know exactly, we have all sorts of check digits on the files. We have file size. We know down to the individual bit how big these files are. It would be almost impossible for somebody to insert a virus into one of our files without changing one of those values. Do you really believe that? Is there anybody in this room stupid enough to believe that the expert hackers out there couldn't do something like that? Okay, Microsoft apparently is, but that's about it. Now, you can certainly disable the ability of somebody to pull from your computer. In other words, using your bandwidth to deliver the output. And you do that by changing the name of your network to underbar opt-out, or the ending. Whatever your name is now, you just add underbar opt-out as the name of your network. Okay. What I don't know, there's been mixed reports in the press about whether that prevents you from downloading from somebody else. Whether that means you're always going to go get a Microsoft server. And I don't know the answer to that yet. So that's one thing, that's one place where we need to find out, because that can be sticky. You know that somebody's going to figure out a way to insert a virus into a file, yet make it appear to Microsoft as if the file is perfect. You know it. If not the Russians, then the Chinese. Or maybe if not the Chinese, then the Russians. And let's not forget the Pakistanis and the Indians. Okay. Not to mention the 12-year-old autistic wonder kid at AITE, who probably is better than all of them. So, that one's a little iffy. All right, there's lots of other privacy issues like microphone. Which applications can use your microphone? Which applications, did I miss one? What happened to camera? Okay. Oh, there's camera, sorry, I got them out of order. Which applications can access your camera? If you remember, there have been problems with computers with built-in cameras where people were installing viruses that activate your camera and seeing what you're doing. So you have some control. It'll actually show you which applications are trying to use your camera, and you can turn them on or off individually, or you can say, nobody gets to use my camera. Personally, when it comes to the camera, I don't have a camera on this one, but any computer I have that has a camera built into it has a piece of duct tape over the camera lens.
Right.
Well, if I ever have to pull that off, I'm going to have a terrible camera view, but, you know, screw it.
Band-Aid.
Huh?
Use a Band-Aid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know, should have thought of that. Oh,
Yeah.
oh well. Sorry, Tina.
I have a Post-it note online.
Yeah. Huh?
Did you put a Band-Aid on mine?
No, I put a
On
piece
your
of duct tape on yours.
Yeah.
No, I didn't actually endorse it, but.
Because cellophane.
Yeah, cellophane, right. Get a little tiny picture, some really nice juicy porn, and stick it right over the camera. So that, you know, anytime somebody looks at your camera, they're seeing something. All right, so
Your bandwidth will get killed.
yes, so account information. Some apps want your account information, name, location, things like that. A lot of games do that kind of thing. Or mapping applications want that. Again, you can control that.
Do you have to give it to them to sign up?
Well, it depends on the game. Some of them require it to sign up. You know, if the game manufacturer wants that from me, I'm not going to play the game. Sorry, that's my personal. Other people will happily go and play the game. I don't know what to tell you, but there are some games out there, they want that information. Supposedly it's to give you a better experience, to compare you against other people in your area, and also to sell as much information about you as possible to whoever wants to buy it. So, you can control what applications have access to your contacts. One of the things that you'll see if you've installed any apps on a smartphone or installed any apps on a tablet is these applications are asking for all sorts of information. They want access to your contacts, and they want access to your calendars, and they want access to your mail. And wait a minute, this is a game. Why do you need access to my email? Well, so we can send you emails. Yeah, bullshit. Turn it off. But it's no different than your phone. It's no different than your tablet. Access to your calendar. Well, yeah, in my case, I want my mail and calendar to have access to my calendar since they're my mail and calendar, but that's about it. Messaging, text messaging, for example. There are applications, again, a lot of them are games that will want to send you text messages. Fitness applications like to do that. I'm an expert on fitness applications, as you can all tell.
Where's your Fitbit?
Yeah, Tina has it. But a lot of these want to send you text messages. So quite literally with some of these applications, you got a Fitbit, you go out and you walk 2 miles, you come home, the computer talks to your Fitbit, downloads the information, and then it sends you a text message that says, "Atta boy, good job, John." And, if you want to leave that on, that's fine, but you can turn it off, and you ought to turn it off. Access to radios like Bluetooth, unfortunately not ham radios. Who gets to access my Bluetooth? And then the last thing, which I've already sort of hit on, is there's whole lists of applications that can run in the background, like Calendar. Well, Calendar you kind of expect to run in the background, but I don't use their calendar, so that's why I have it turned off. Their music application, their map application, Microsoft Edge, all these things can be running in the background even when you have them turned off. It's not a privacy issue for the most part. It is an issue of battery and CPU. Turn them the hell off. Unless you want them on. If you want them on, turn them on. But just realize when your battery runs out after 30 minutes, that's why. It's nothing different than what you're doing with your tablet. It's nothing different than what you're doing if you're on an iPad. It's nothing different than what you're doing with your smartphone. or even if you're on an Apple laptop, it just is everybody's making a big stink because the Microsoft world isn't used to it, and Microsoft hit everybody with this stuff all at once. Just, Apple did it slowly over a couple of years. Google did it slowly over a couple of years. Microsoft, after having none of this, all of a sudden came out and said, okay, here it is, we got everything all at once, and it's all turned on, good luck. But that's the only real difference. That's it.
I just checked my fitness app,
Yeah.
and all it did was laugh, laugh, laugh.
Okay, thank you, everyone. By the way, this is Google Slide, I forget what they call it these days, but this is the Google PowerPoint. I'm using Google Doc, Google Sheet, and Google Slides or presentation, whatever the hell they're calling it. I'm using them almost exclusively now. I do stuff for clients. The worst that happens is the client says, "Hey, how come your heading wasn't with your, didn't go on the page break along with your with the first paragraph?" Big deal. If you do really extensive bookmarking and cross-referencing and really complex formatting and pictures with words wrapped around them and all that, you're going to want to go to Microsoft Office. Other than that, this does perfectly fine.
I think I figured out a way how to get around Andy's question. Go on eBay, get an OEM copy of 7 or 8. If you had to sell it to you one piece of hardware,
Yeah.
like maybe a RAM or something, probably could get it real cheap for that box. And then you do the upgrade to the Windows 10.
Actually, no, I think my Windows 7 is an upgrade. Yeah. I was going to say, I remember having a 3-pack for Windows 7, but I think it was an upgrade 3-pack, not an original 3-pack. Because since I'm not using it anymore, I could give it to you, but if it was an upgrade, that won't help.
Well, I got a Dell power I picked up from the raffle, and it was running the Trail version of 10. I never got a chance to, now I'm hooking it up. It's asking me for a digital signature and everything, and it says ask your administrator. I think it needs to set up this for the Dell.
It may, I don't
It
know.
needs to set up this with an operating system on like 7 or 8.
Okay.
And if you have Windows 95 or
Yeah.
XP, you can buy the 10.
Yes.
But does it pay to put it on a computer that has 95 or XP?
Probably not.
Like I said, it's working better with some older computers than XP did. Whether it's worth it, I don't know. Some of these really older, slow computers, I can't tell you that it's worth it or not.
You gotta have a certain processor speed stand for it to work.
I mean, the information is out there as to what the minimum processor is, minimum memory. 95, if you got something that's working with 95, I'll bet that computer is not strong enough. But then again, like I said, that little netbook is kind of running okay.
And there's a program you download.
I've got a netbook, it's slower than all get out.
Yeah, but what Bill is about to say, there's a program you can download.
It'll tell you if your computer's upgradable.
Yeah. It'll tell you if it's got enough power. It's going to say it's not upgradable if it's running 95, but it'll tell you if it's got enough horsepower, memory, etc. Okay, let's take a break. Obviously, we don't have a raffle since Ernest is here.